Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Chris. Today we are diving into a dupe video. So we are going to find out whether or not the Jaclyn Volume 2 palette got duped by, once again, a changeable fantasy palette. The reason why I say once again is because I did a dupe video with the palette that looks just like this, except it's not it. I have that one right here. This one is a dupe for the James Charles palette. This was before he came out with the mini. This was when he came out with his big one. This is a very good dupe. That same company, they came out with this palette, and I'm like, why does this look so familiar? And then I remembered, wait a minute, the Jaclyn Hill palette. This palette, by the way, is sold by UcanbeMakeup.com. So I'll leave all the information and the link and how you could get this palette in my description box down below. So this is the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. And then here is the duped palette. What do you guys think? Let me know your honest thoughts down below. Also, let me know which eye you think is which eye you think is the Morphe Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette, and which eye you think is the fantasy palette. Now, before I get into swatches, the eye look, and things like that, I'm going to give you guys some details in terms of just comparisons between these palettes, other than the obvious that this is bigger than this one. And yes, this one does have the advantage in terms of traveling. This palette costs $39, while this one costs $20.99 right now. That sale has been going on though for quite some time, so I don't think it's going to change. Originally cost $28. The Jaclyn Hill palette has 35 shadows, and this one has 39 shadows. Jaclyn Hill's palette weighs 56.2 grams, and this one right here weighs 40 grams, which is still quite a lot. Both of them have a 12-month shelf life, both are cruelty-free, both are made in China, and both contain talc and mica. Let's talk about the swatches. I obviously did pre-recorded swatches because for me to do live swatches for every single one of these shades, this is going to be a 20-hour video. We're not trying to do that here. I swatched the palettes side by side. On the left-hand side, you have the Changeable Fantasy palette, and on the right-hand side, you have the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. Honestly, you can see a difference in the swatches. Some of them are pretty close, some of them are so different. So at first I was like, I don't know if this is like a spot on dupe. I don't think it is, because some of them are just that different. And as I continued to swatch the palette, I was like, you know what, maybe they don't look that different on the lid, so I'm just gonna continue to give this a shot. I don't know about you guys, but I don't see a major difference in my eyes, other than one thing that I think you guys see, but I don't want to say anything. I'll let you guys figure that out. And then we do have the 4 extra shadows in this palette, because remember the Jaclyn Hill one is 35 shadows and this was 39. These two up here on the side, then it's this one and this one. Let's go ahead and take Lolly Mama from Jaclyn Hill. Here it is. And then I'm going to take that same color right here, okay, on my fingers. And I'm going to swatch them right here. Go, that's Lolly Mama. And here is the dupe. Oof, I took way too much. But there they are, swatched side by side. That's pretty darn tootin' close if you ask me. Now I'm going to take two that aren't really that close. Let's take a purple. Let's take Not My Journey. Feels so good. And then, of course, let's take the one in here. Right here, which also feels good. Alright, here they are on my fingers, and here we go on the swatch. Not My Journey, and then the dupe one. There we go. That is a huge difference, right? So I was like, can't, there's no way that's gonna look the same on the lids. What I did was I put tiny little dots all around this palette of the ones that were pretty close and ones that were semi-close. I didn't put on any lashes, you guys, because I really wanted you guys to see the eyeshadows. So let's go ahead and dive into this eye battle. God, I haven't said that in so long. It feels great. So today I am busting out my clean sweep, which is of course a color switch. I haven't used this in so long, so I wanted to use it today. I am using some Morphe brushes, and I'm using the same brushes for both sides to keep it fair. And the same thing goes for the base, so I'm using the Kylie Cosmetics Maple Concealer and then dabbing it in with the Junico sponge. The Jaclyn Hill palette is on this side of my face, and the Changeable Fantasy palette is on this side of my face. How many of you guys got that right? Let me know down below. I started the Jaclyn Hill eye first with my M222 brush, going in with the shadow called Next. In all honesty, you guys, the Jaclyn Hill palette is very nice, but this isn't a review for her palette. This is a review, honestly, for the dupe palette. So of course, I went in with the same brush after dusting it off with the color switch with its dupe shadow. These don't come with names, so it was just a matter of seeing where everything was aligned, and they pretty much followed the same pattern from the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. Next, using the same brush, going back in with the Jaclyn Hill palette, I went and I picked up Heart On. I put that above and slightly on top of Next, and then I blended it out. Then of course I went in with the dupe palette, and the colors looked spot on. I was really shocked to see that. I was like, okay, so far this is looking pretty identical. I'm not seeing like a dramatic difference whatsoever. Next, going back in with the Morphe one, I went in with Positivity. I put it high up, guys. I practically went up to my eyebrow today, which honestly I had no intention of doing. And then I did that same thing with the dupe palette, and honestly I like the tone of the dupe palette a little bit more than the Jaclyn Hill palette. It was just slightly more pink, which is what I liked. I didn't cut my crease, you guys, today. Super lazy. But I did go in with the JH41 brush with Bougie, and I did go in with a dry brush. As I was putting on, I was not impressed, so I was like, let me go in with a finger, and that was much better. As you probably guessed, I did the same thing for the dupe side. I went in with the same brush with the dupe version of that same shadow, and just like Jaclyn Hill's, I also was not impressed, so I went in with my finger. Now this is where honestly you can see the difference. From far, I don't think you guys can tell that much. This one's definitely more rosy and like pink, and this one is more champagne. Next, for the inner corner of my eye, I took my N326 brush with Talia, which is a nice beautiful gold shimmer. And then of course I took the dupe version of that with the same brush, which by the way was dry for both of those shadows. It looks more yellow gold, and you could kind of see that in the pans when you put the shadows next to each other. And moving on to my lower lash line, I went in with my JH41 brush, back in with Next for the Jaclyn Hill side, and then I took the dupe version of that shadow for the Changeable Fantasy side as well. I did go in with my M507 brush with Tipsy Girl underneath Next, which is just a really beautiful pink. So I wanted to see how the dupe one would look next to that one, because in the pans it doesn't look like they're gonna look alike at all. But so when I went in with that same brush on the dupe side with the dupe version of that shadow, I was like, doesn't look that different. Now the last thing I did with this palette, you guys, which honestly I did not plan, but I just didn't like the fact that I went so high up on my brow and it looked like a harsh line. I didn't like that at all. So I went back in with my M222 brush, and with the Jaclyn Hill palette I picked up Certified, and it honestly looks a lot better to me. I did the same thing with the dupe shadow. I went ahead and I put that up top. To finish my eyes, I went in with the Glam Like Calligrapher liner and the Tarte Big Eco mascara. And yeah, that's it, guys. I was really shook to see how well the dupe palette did, because the swatches weren't exactly as spot on. On top of that, you guys, the formula in this palette is really good. It's consistent with the James Charles dupe one. So if you have that one and you like this palette, you're going to like this one. Again, this is $20.99 right now on their site, just like a $19 difference compared to this palette. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have a lot of videos coming your way because so many new products arrived to my house, so I'm gonna be banging out some videos. Keep your eye out, make sure that notification bell is on, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.